far as my initial thoughts, I mean, the trailer looks good so far. I'm still interested in seeing it. I mean, so far it doesn't look too bad. Doesn't look too bad. Doesn't look too bad. Doesn't look too bad. This movie made me age a year. I don't know about you, but I think I got Ebola. I need some electrolytes. Dialysis, something. What's up, family? FallenMarvel back from a long journey to bring you a detailed review on the Fantastic Four. And I'm using that term very loosely. And the only reason why I'm smiling right now is because I'm trying to stay optimistic while otherwise reviewing a terrible movie. I can already see you about to be way too lenient on this. I think we need to do a change up. What are you talking about, change up? Don't worry about it. Just sit back and just relax your brain tissue. Yo, Marv, hold up, man. 3, 2, 1, go. Ah, much better. Now you guys are gonna get the review that this movie justly deserves. Marv, what the hell am I? Yo, FM, you're fine. Just relax. I'm gonna be taking over for this one. Marv, you can't be switching out our minds on the fly like that, man. You can't do that. Well, apparently I can. So, anyway, let's get on with this fantastic review. Now, just so you warn, I am gonna spoil some stuff in this movie. So if you're still gung-ho about going to see it or whatever have you, then I suggest you click off this video, because at this point I just don't care, because as far as I'm concerned, this movie was a big steaming pile of elephant dung. Way to be courteous, Marv. It would have been nice if you gave me the same courtesy before switching our minds out. Why are you bringing up old stuff? Marv, I'm not in the mood right now. You tell me how to get out. Now let me get this out of the way. If you've seen the trailer, you pretty much have seen the movie. The trailer basically has the same structure as the movie from beginning to end. It tries to give you a little bit of backstory, mainly focusing on Reed and Ben Grimm at the beginning and their kids and all this or whatever in the classroom, as you've seen in the trailer. But apparently they become best friends, which they just fast forward like 7 years after, and they're in high school and they're still buddy-buddy. But in the end, it's just, you know, it just kind of feels it just is what it is at this point. Insert Dr. Franklin Storm with Sue Storm, and they come across and see his little invention that he made or whatever that supposedly helps them create interdimensional travel. So apparently, like they said, Reed pretty much had the answers to questions we don't even know yet. I'm still thinking to myself, like, how does that term even make sense? Well, I guess I'll play along for now, but I understand what you mean. It seemed like they were trying to be all deep and philosophical, but it was just, nah. So this movie keeps progressing into them eventually building the machine. And one thing I have to point out is that there was absolutely no chemistry between the actors in this movie. Already the biggest problem with this movie is characterization. They really did not delve into the backstories of these characters individually, and it's just to the point where you see these characters on screen and you do not care about them. And oh my god, that first real conversation between Reed and Susan was just awkward. He just like, well, I'm just trying to do my research and stuff like that. You like music? Yeah, I like music. I like the patterns and things like that, and blah blah blah. Like, who starts conversations like that? They were pretty much using that whole pattern thing with Sue to just use it as an exposition for something that she did later, which was just, it just came off as just really cheap and generic. Marv, I can tell you already, I've never had a conversation like that with a girl. If I did, I would walk away with my face in my hands. Well, FM, it's nice to see you kindly getting comfortable on the other side of the brain. Don't get too comfortable in the main seat. I want my body back when this is over. So we finally get to Johnny Storm, who is pretty much the hothead person in the group. He has a little bit more, I'd say he has the most personality so far in this movie. So we finally meet the guy, Victor Von Doom, and I have to say, man, he was a vast disappointment. The only thing I can say about Victor Von Doom was they at least had him play like the typical pompous D-bag that we kind of know him to be a little bit, but since with him being younger, he hasn't quite matured into that yet, so he's still like this young, talented scientist or whatever who was a protege of Franklin Storm, and he kind of left the project and blah blah skippy woo, and yeah, he coming back and work on the thing, and you know, here he is now. And apparently there was some history between Victor and Sue back in the day, and the only tidbits we get of that is, you look good, Susan. Thank you. I prefer Sue. And that's pretty much the basis of their conversation. It's very awkward. It's obvious that he did something messed up to her or whatever the case may be, but it just feels awkward. It almost feels like a victim being around their attacker almost. Not sure I go that far, but I kind of see where you're going with that. Figure you wouldn't back me up on that, FM. Marv, didn't I just say that like I kind of see where you're coming from with it? Tomato, tomato. Then you got Johnny Storm, who apparently has been estranged from his dad and his sister for whatever reason. And that's just something else that they did never explore. Like, was it because Sue was adopted and their dad gave her more attention than him or whatever? They never explore that. He's just estranged, and it was just like when they finally meet up, it was like, yeah, I'm just doing this to get my car back and or whatever. Yeah, it's nice to see you too. And like, what is going on? Oh, I'm not gonna lie, it was way too much like awkwardness between everybody. It just really seemed like they really did not spend that much time together working out how they were going to interact with each other. It was FM, who's giving a review? Look, I'm a part of this thing. I'm giving my 2 cents, okay? So there's another scene with Reed and Sue where they're talking and working on a project, and then Victor in the distance see them talking and gets a little jaded, and then he calls over like, Reed, can I have a word? Then Reed walks up to Victor, and Victor's like, you're being unprofessional. It's like, we're just working and talking. That's not what it looks like. Your focus should be on the project. Well, we're done. You're done? Yeah, Sue, Sean. It's like, can these interactions be any more awkward? At this point in the movie, you realize that Ben Grimm hasn't even been around like in the last 25 minutes. So to segue in him being a part of it, supposedly now the government doesn't want the scientists to go, which they originally planned. So Victor, Reed, Johnny, they decided, well, you know what, forget them. We gonna be the first ones to go there regardless. We gonna be like Neil Armstrong and Buzz and all them dudes that be the first person to plant on a new dimension. Yeah. So supposedly Reed decides to call Ben and was like, look, man, we started this all together. I want you on this, man. I'm not going without you. Blah, skippy woo. And that's how Ben winds up going to them to the other dimension. Who does that? Well, I know for a fact I wouldn't. We are in agreement, FM. So here's how the scenario goes. They go to the other dimension, explore around, stuff happens, green goop starts coming out, they run away, Victor falls in the green goop, everybody else tries to go into the machine to get back, something goes wrong, Sue has to come, override it, try to bring him back, then the goop gets too close, starts hitting them all or whatever, and fundamentally like messing with them. Then Sue gets him back, and then a residual shockwave from the thing hits Sue, and she gets her powers. There you see Johnny burning on the ground. You hear Ben's voice under a bunch of rocks or whatever. Then Reed turned around and realized his leg is like 20 feet behind him, still stuck under the rubble. So it's like, okay, blackout. He in the room with a bunch of government officials analyzing him. So as they're being examined, Reed hears Ben's voice crying out in help or whatever, trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Reed somehow finally figures out somewhat to get loose of the thing. He crawls to the vent, finds Ben, and then, you know, he's like, Ben, like, Reed, help. Like, I'll try to get you out. What's happening? Alarm. Oh God, I'm sorry. I can't. I gotta go. So somehow Reed escapes a military facility. He doesn't even know where he is. So you gotta remember, these guys are in their late teens, early 20s, okay? They just got their powers. They have no idea how to use them. How did Reed escape a military facility by himself, not knowing how to use his powers? When he was crawling through the vent, his body was still stretching. He couldn't control how to extend and retract his body yet. He didn't know. How did he escape? Then the movie goes on to do something that really irritated me that I didn't even expect to happen. The movie time jumps a year. A whole year. So apparently everybody's used to their powers. The military's training them for combat. Ben has already been on covert missions that they've already sent him on and stuff like that, and he's kind of feeling resented because Reed left him, and now he's just this big rock golem going around carrying out military ops. So at this point, now it just really seemed like there's more tension between them than there really ever should be, especially with them trying to do this whole origin thing with the first family of Marvel. Yeah, first family and longest running team. So, I mean, I don't know. By this point in the movie, you're really starting to see how the special effects start to look. And I have to say, some points of it are okay. And then there are other times where the effects are just downright atrocious. There's a scene when they show Johnny flying and going after a military drone to take it down, and the animation in the flight is so terrible. By this point, Ben is pretty much just a loner and only just comes out whenever he needs to go on a mission. Johnny is like gung-ho about going into combat, so apparently he's still having tension with his own dad or whatever, and he's like, well, I'm grown, this is my decision, I want to do something with this, I ain't about to get no cure, leave me alone. That's pretty much him. And then Sue is just, I don't know what Sue was doing. She was just there, just being monotone as usual. There's still not any type of connection with these people. And Ben and Sue are still feeling, you know, getting all in their feelings because Reed pretty much left and never came back. And he's been gone for a year. And now they're supposedly having a hard time tracking him.
It looks like our friend FallenMarvel and Marv are having a hard time with this review. Seems to be so frustrating that they couldn't do it in one sitting. Can they fully see it through and sift through all the garbage that they witnessed? Or will they crumble under the pressure and just lose it? Find out on the next episode of FallenMarvel Reviews.